Hey, can you tell me what was the hardest period of your life and what were you doing during that time to get through it? If you clicked on this video, I assume you have something to do with music and maybe you're going through some rough shit right now. So I want to share my experience, not to teach you anything, but just in case some part of it resonates with you. Maybe you'll find something useful. Maybe you will recognize yourself in some of it. Or maybe we'll just share the pain for a few minutes. For me, it started 3 years ago when the war came to my country.
Here we go.
It started before dawn. Ukraine woke to explosions around the capital, Kiev. It was the same across the country. These pictures from Kharkiv in the east. Enormous blasts, also in the city of Dnipro. Air raid sirens blared out across the capital. Above the clouds, a fighter jet soared over our heads, Russian or Ukrainian, we don't know which.
And I have been locked here ever since. For those who don't know, probably most of you, I'm a full-time freelance music producer out of Ukraine. That's what I was doing before the war, and that's what I'm still doing now for a living. When the war started and the initial shock wore off, I evacuated from Kiev to a small town in the west of Ukraine, Ivano-Frankivsk. It was far from the front line, relatively safe. And once I settled there, I went right back to working on my clients' projects because, well, I still needed money. Some clients knew what was going on in my life, some didn't. But honestly, nobody really gives a shit about your problems, even if it's a fucking war. That was a tough lesson, but I eventually made peace with it. Around that time, I realized two things. First, when I was making music, I could completely disconnect from what was going on around me. It was like a little mental safe space. A second, I realized just how deeply I depended on it, mentally, financially, emotionally. So I kept working. I kept finding new clients, new projects, all while my country was literally being invaded and my home city was surrounded by Russians. A few months later, I came back to Kiev and something weird happened. All my dreams, all my career goals, all the things I used to be chasing, suddenly none of it meant anything to me anymore. I thought maybe I just needed to get back to making music for me, not for clients, not for money, just something real, something that reflected what was going on inside me. Because for years, all I did was hustle. I was making beats, mixing, mastering, delivering any music service I could possibly deliver. And it was all about the grind. So I started writing again. It was February 2023, I think. A friend of mine sent me Fred Again Boiler Room set. You might have seen it. That performance shook me. It hit something deep. It inspired me to dive into the world of dance music, which I was never really a fan of. I started exploring new genres, subgenres, textures. I began learning new techniques, new sound design tricks, new song structures, and so on. And within the next half a year, I made around 50 demos, mostly in dance music genre. However, I finished just 4 and liked maybe 2. And by the time I was done, I was like, okay, now what? You also need to understand what was happening in the background while I was making all this music. All the time, Ukraine was constantly under missile and drone attacks, targeting energy infrastructure specifically. So we had electricity only a few hours a day, no light, no heat, no internet for hours and days. On top of that, I had the constant fear of mobilization, because here it is compulsory. The fear of being killed in a night attack, the fear of not waking up the next morning. Not much has changed today, honestly. We just somehow got the power back. At some point, I asked myself, what the f am I even doing this for? And so I gave up. I stopped making music at all for like half a year or more. For the next few months, I tried looking for quote unquote normal job. IT, UI, UX, design, marketing, whatever. But the truth was, I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. I felt sick just of one thought about spending at least a year trying to learn a new skill, then doing job interviews, getting to know your colleagues, and so on. So I spiraled. Woke up, no shower, no breakfast, no brushing my teeth. Just coffee, then PlayStation, Instagram Reels until late night, then sleep. Repeat. That was my life for a while. I saw zero meaning in anything. But eventually I realized what I was actually missing. And it wasn't just money. It was that feeling of fulfillment. That moment when you make something and you think, damn, I can't believe I made that. You know that feeling, right? When you make a track for yourself or for someone else and it feels like magic. So I started writing again, not for a goal, not for money, just to feel alive. When it came to my career, one of the best things that helped me was joining an online community of like-minded producers. It gave me structure, inspiration, feedback, new work, new knowledge, new people, new reason to keep going. Fast forward to now, I'm back to working one-on-one with clients, and honestly, it feels more fulfilling than ever. Maybe it's the people, maybe it's the music, I don't know, but I feel good doing it. I started this YouTube channel hoping to find people who feel the same way, people who just get it. Most importantly, I got back to making my own music. No idea what genre I'm even writing in anymore. No idea why I'm writing it. I just do it because sometimes this is the only way I know how to express what's going on inside, beyond words, beyond videos like this. I'm still figuring it all out. I don't have a clear purpose or grand plan. I just know I feel worse when I don't create. And maybe you are watching this and thinking, okay, but what the fuck am I supposed to do with this info? Honestly, I'm not trying to teach you anything. I just hope maybe somewhere in all this mess, you recognize yourself a little. Maybe your life is falling apart at the moment. Maybe you lost someone you loved. Maybe you're going through your own identity crisis. Whatever it is, my message is very simple. Create. Create even if no one cares. Create even if you don't know why. Create just because it is what we are wired to do. You won't find fulfillment through scrolling and consuming constantly, or waiting or numbing yourself. You find it in the act, when something starts flowing through you and suddenly you are there, fully present, alive. Honestly, I don't know if anyone will ever hear the music I made during this time. I haven't released any of it, but that's not really the point. I just want you to know you can still create even when the world around you is falling apart, even in the darkest, most f***ed up moments. Anyway, that's my story, or at least a small part of it. It's still unfolding. I have no idea how or when it ends, But thank you for being here, for listening. I hope you find peace, and once you do, never let it go. Please create. Thank you.